Governor Cuomo, don't you think it's about time you started doing your job? You keep complaining about the corruption in the legislature. You ignore the corruption with these DAs and the judges in the judiciary. The New York State Attorney General is under your direction. I have fully documented that the family courts in most of the counties, at least the ones around here, are all closed. They're not open to the public. That's a violation of the law, and it's a violation of people's rights to go into the courtroom, and the people that are in the courtroom, their right to have a public trial. They're closed. They have people waiting out in the room. These judges need to be arrested. The statute is very clear. The family court is open. If they want to close it, there are procedures to follow. I know they're not following the procedures, which each and every single case being closed. That's official misconduct. They need to be prosecuted for closing the courtrooms illegally. Depriving litigants of their constitutional right to a jury trial. Everybody that's been sentenced to jail is illegally imprisoned in this state that's been sentenced by a family court judge. Because they have been deprived of their right to a public trial, a jury's trial. A lot of times a court of proper jurisdiction, the family court doesn't have jurisdiction. It's all on my website, www.justicefornewyork.com. What about these judges that are issuing these court orders where fathers like myself are ordered to pay more than our incomes? That violates state law. These judges that violate the law in ordering fathers to pay more in child support than is required are, one, issuing a false certificate because they know what the law is. That's a Class C felony. Why aren't they being charged with it? I know, the appellate court is covering up for them. They're also committing larceny. And depending on the amount, I can show it's grand larceny. I can also show, as all documented on my tapes, on my website and the documents, larceny defined. Third degree or second degree larceny, it doesn't matter what the value is, by extortion. The extortion is these people are being brought in for violating the court order. They're facing imprisonment. They're also facing the loss of their driver's licenses. That's extortion. Either you pay or you're going to go to jail or you're going to lose your driver's license. And everything is closed. These judges that are performing these illegal acts need to be arrested and put in jail. The attorneys that are involved in it, covering it up with these judges. Like with Peter, when I documented his case, they had him paying support to the mother, but she didn't have to pay support to him, even though he was entitled to it, and they never addressed the issue. And they defrauded him of almost $60,000. Oh, that's all right, according to the judges and stuff. It's not all right. The guy barely made it. His daughter came in and wanted to stop the child support because none of it was going to her. Mama was putting it all in her own pocket. There needs to be some place set up where these fathers can go and file criminal charges against these attorneys and judges for violating their rights. You go to the DA's now. I've been to the DA several times on it. The Attorney General's office has been fully aware of it. Robert Abrams was fully aware of what's going on. And you named a justice building after him. He was a terrorist. He was a traitor to the New York State Constitution and the federal Constitution. He took an oath of office to defend both. You took an oath of office to defend and protect the Constitution. You're not doing it. You open your mouth all the time about corruption, but you don't do anything. Now it's time to do something. Shut down the family court. Order the immediate release of every parent, mother, father, or child that is currently in jail because of a family court order. They're illegally in jail. I have fully documented it. They have, and these public defenders, they don't do anything. They just sit there and go along. They all want to be Monty Halls. They collect their $75 an hour. And sometimes they collect more. It's how they work the system. Another thing, Governor, I am entitled. Yes, I am entitled to be compensated. I've documented it through all my lawsuits by New York State for my false imprisonment, by the Albany County where I was entitled to immunity. They changed the law. If they had followed the law that was passed, that was ruled on, the case law, I would have been found not guilty if the judge had told the jury about the case law. Instead, he uses a definition out of a dictionary. That was a denial of due process. The case was fixed. I was entitled to immunity. The case was fixed. Everybody covered up. All my documents are on my website. Justice for New York. My mother is entitled. I'm entitled to be compensated because none of the judges in my case putting me over $35,000, $40,000 in arrears had the authority to do it. They were acting, one, in violation of the New York State Constitution. They were operating in violation of case law, which states that they didn't have jurisdiction. I had a separation agreement. Family court can't enforce or modify it. That's exactly what they did. They modified it and then enforced their illegal court orders. There was no referral from the Supreme Court to the family court, as there was no decretal paragraph as required by case law. There was no referral as required by the state constitution. As I said, there's no referral decretal paragraph. The order didn't comply with DRL, Domestic Relations Law, Section 251, because the required language wasn't in it. I'm not the one that made the laws, but it's the judges that are violating them. Why are they allowed to violate the law and lie about it? That's official misconduct. Issuing a false certificate, official misconduct. He knowingly refrains from performing a duty in which is imposed upon him or is clearly inherent in the nature of it. They're covering up for each other. Every one of them needs to be arrested and put in jail. It's your job as governor to make sure Attorney General Snyderman gets off his butt and does his job and have these people arrested and put in jail. And charged with closing the courtrooms in violation of state statute, depriving litigants of their right to a jury trial. These court orders that don't comply with the law. They know what the law is. If they're a judge or a support magistrate, they know what the law is. They violate the law, why shouldn't they be put in jail? They belong there. Everybody that's in there illegally should be released, as I stated earlier. And my mother is entitled to be compensated. She filed the papers, the lawsuits, properly and within the time frame required, as fully documented on my website and documented on my tapes for the illegal taking of her property. How would you like it if your home was taken and given to somebody else? You wouldn't like it, would you? And then you keep going into court. My mother spent 13 years in court trying to get her property back. The only thing that she was able to get it back was my youngest son decided to live with me after he was being abused by the system, which is clearly documented on my website, how Judge Kramer and the Saratoga County Probation Department, especially Molly Dwyer, lies in her. Why are these state workers allowed to lie in their reports? Why are people being deprived? These people, psychologists or probation writes these reports and the litigants aren't allowed to read them? That's a denial of due process. It's illegal. Everybody, you should order everybody's to get a copy of their reports, and if they want, they can file criminal charges against these people if their reports are lies. I documented mine. You liberal Democrats like to say you're protecting everybody's rights. It's a bunch of crap. You liberal Democrats are out there to destroy this country, to strip us of our rights. I know you're afraid of too many lawsuits. That's not my problem. My problem is I'm entitled to being compensated for what was done to me. My mother's entitled to be compensated what was done to her. And the attorneys that were involved in it need to compensate me also. And the same with my mother. So, Governor, in closing, have these judges arrested and put in jail and order the immediate release of every parent, mother, father, or child in this state that's been in prison by the family court released. Or come out and debate me as to why. Where my documentation is wrong. You can't do that. And I know you won't debate me. So do your job. And one last thing, Governor. I am also entitled not only to be compensated by the state of New York, I'm entitled to be compensated by the County of Albany because the illegal actions taken against me by Saul Greenberg, Christopher Horn, and James Dixon. Dixon and Horn should have their law licenses revoked for stripping me of my rights to immunity and their illegal actions taken against me. They belong in jail, but they need to have their licenses taken away. I'm also entitled to be compensated by Schenectady County because Warner had no jurisdiction over there to hear my case. Saratoga County, where Judge James and everybody that's illegally deprived me of my constitutional rights in order to pay more in child support than my income. All those, as I stated in before, they're still taking money out on me because of arrears. The arrears were because of their illegal court orders. Therefore, every time they've taken out money, every 2 weeks when they take that $60, they are committing a new crime. They all need to be arrested. And I want them prosecuted. I want to be able to go before a grand jury and present all the evidence I have. And let the grand jury decide. I know, you won't allow it. The state won't allow it because you got too much to lose. I'll tell you, people are going to start standing up for their rights. All supporting documentation for my videos can be found at www.justicefornewyork.com.